Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates regarding the most informative videos related to government job exams preparation. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the PFRDA Grade A 2021 exam. The Phase 1 exam was held on 17th of October. And in this video, we will analyze the paper 2 for the general stream of this paper and also discuss in the end the expected cutoff for this paper. So as I said, the paper was held on 17th of October. The exam consisted, this was phase 1, this consisted of two papers. Paper 1 which consisted of English language, quant, reasoning and general awareness questions for 100 marks, and paper 2 for general stream had questions on 7 subjects of commerce, accountancy, management, finance, costing, companies and economics and pension sector. So in this video we will discuss the questions, the 50 questions that came in paper 2, what was the level, and based on the attempts of the various students, what is the expected cutoff. So first we look at the distribution of the questions. The paper was well distributed amongst the 7 subjects. 7 to 8 questions from each of the subjects were there. So very good distribution of the subjects. And if we talk about numericals, there were a good number of numericals also this time in the paper, around 8 to 9 numericals from topics like accounts and costing. So going into the subject wise, now we will discuss the subject wise, what were the questions and what was the level. So first, the first subject was commerce and accounts. So if we talk about the level of the questions that were asked from the commerce and accounts, the level we can say was moderate. I will at this stage request all of you to pay attention to this analysis, because paper 2 is common in your phase 2 also. So PFRDA exam will be held in 2 phases. The first phase has happened. The phase 2 is will also be held for this exam, which will also consist of 2 papers. Your paper 1 will be descriptive English and your paper 2 will be the same as paper 2 that was in phase 1. So paying attention and seeing the pattern of questions being asked in the phase 1 will help you to prepare and fill up the gaps that might have been left in phase 1. So coming back to our discussion of subject wise, the commerce and accounts level was moderate. Why I say moderate is the type of questions that had come. The type of questions were there, they were mostly conceptual in nature. But this conceptual concept was being tested through mostly the numericals in this pattern. So if we look at the questions, what were the questions? And there was a conceptual questions related to the cash flow of the financial enterprise. So some cash flow was stated, and which type of a cash flow will it be for that financial enterprise was asked. Then there was a question, tax related questions were also asked. So you can say some unexpected parts related to tax being asked in the commerce and accounts aspect was there. Income tax related, this is a deduction under 80DD was asked. So under 80DD, this is a deduction related to the expenditure, the medical expenses that one does on dependents who are differently able. So this tax deduction was asked about. Then there was a question related to the GST with the concept of inverted duty structure. So the inverted duty structure is a concept where when a person is paying GST at a rate which is much high on the inputs or the inputs that they have purchased, which is higher than the GST that will be applicable on the output of that particular company. So that is an inverted duty structure. So there was a question related to the inverted duty structure in the exam that was asked. The other remaining questions in the commerce and account segment were numericals. One numerical was based on the calculation of shares that will be needed to issue. So the question, the exact numbers we do not have, but the question was where you had certain resources available to redeem a debt instrument, and the remaining aspect, the remaining part of money that was not available had to be fulfilled by issuing of shares. So you had to calculate how many shares a person will have to issue to redeem that. The answers that we are getting from the students is that it was somewhere around 75,000 shares for this particular question. Then there was a question, a detail, a little complicated, you can say. The question was direct in relation to who understands the concept of tax provision. That is being provision on tax basically that appears on the liability side of the balance sheet, and the advance taxes that a company pays. So the companies have to pay advance taxes every quarter. So that is an asset. So there were opening and closing balances related to these that were given, and the amount after the company has filed the tax return, they are eligible for a refund. So based on that, what was the actual tax that was provided for in the P&L had to be calculated. So there was a lot of information available, and a little complicated and a time consuming numerical. I think most of the people would have left this numerical until unless they were very clear about the entries related to provision on tax or advance taxes. Then there was a numerical related to the calculation of the closing stock. We do not have the exact details. Some answers that the students have given to us was related to around 45,000. The next question was related to a numerical on the funds flow statement, and there was one numerical related to calculation of the fair value of the ESOPs. Okay, so here the answers that some students have mentioned has been mentioned as 9. We do not have the exact numbers, but we will try to recreate a memory based paper based on all this information and the type of questions that have come, which will be available on our website in some time. The next topic, the management. The level of questions here was easy. Okay, some may say the questions they had to think, but I think the level was easy. There were questions that required your conceptual understanding and a logical. So management, when we are studying, we always tell you that management has two aspects when you are studying. One is factual or theories based, when you have to remember the name of the person who's given the theory, what is there written in the theory, and then there is the logic or the conceptual part, where you can logically think how a manager should behave, or a company, or how the management should behave to get the most efficient way of managing a company. So the questions were related mostly to that aspect. If we look at the questions, there was a question related to what is a management as a system of. So answer that is being shared by students from the options most relevant was the authority. So management is also existed as a system of authority, where you have the authority to give orders, get the work done, and also delegate that authority to get the work done. So from that concept, there was a question being asked here. There was a question related to Maslow's need. Again, we have got different answers from students. Some have mentioned the answer was as self-actualization, while some have mentioned that the extended version of Maslow's theory was the question was based on the extended version. So actually the generic version of Maslow's needs, hierarchy of needs theory, actually has 5 needs that they talk about. That is the theory. However, later Maslow had added 3 more needs: the cognitive, aesthetic, and transcendence needs. After the esteem needs. So that is an extended version which is less talked about, but some students have mentioned that it was related to that extended version. That there was a question related to the role of a manager. One question based on the benevolent leader meaning and thought process, and there was a motivation theory related to homeostasis drive reduction theory. So this is also a less talked about motivation theory, which talks about, how if you do not have a particular status quo is reduced, then you are driven to fulfill that need to come back to the status quo that was before that need, you were deprived or reduced for. So that was a theory. There was a question based on this. Then there was a simple logical question related to the HR career development, and a direct question. This is a simple question about the free flow network of communications. I think the answer here was related to grapevine or informal communication. So these were some questions. Majority of the students have found these questions in the management as the easy level, because either you had to logically come at the answer, or from the technique of elimination you could have arrived at the answer. Finance questions were very easy, very basic in nature, and direct questions were asked. To give the example, there was the regulator for the corporate debt market who was asked. The answer is SEBI. It is not RBI. RBI is the regulator for the money market, the government's debt market, but for the corporate debt market, the regulator is SEBI. Then, who is the chairman of the FSDC was asked. FSDC is the Financial Stability and Development Council. It is like a super, or you can say an apex regulatory above the all other regulators in India, like RBI, SEBI. So above that, there is the FSDC, Financial Stability and Development Council. The chairman of this council is the finance minister of the country. Then there was a question related to the BSBDA account under financial inclusion. So basic savings bank deposit account is like a zero balance, no frills kind of an account that banks offer as a part of the financial inclusion. Then the limit or the days, for issuing of CMB. CMB is the cash management bills that was asked. So CMBs are issued by the government when they want to raise short-term liquidity for less than 91 days. For more than 91 days, or actually specific days, the government uses the T-bills in the money market. And then there was another question related to debt securities, or interest related to the payment on debt. So the exact question we do not know, but it was something related to the interest payments on debt. Coming to the costing part, the level here was easy, although it was consisting of numericals, but the questions were of expected topics and of expected nature of numericals were there. One was a very conceptual question being asked, what all will be included while calculating the total variable cost, that it was a total direct cost and all variable overheads will be included here. Then there was a the numerical based on calculation of fixed cost. The exact question we are not aware of, but here answer was somewhere around 10,000. Then we had to calculate, there was a numerical based on the calculation of break even point in units. Similar question we had done in the last revision, important questions, the topics for costing that one should focus on. So marginal costing, break-even analysis was one of such topics. So the numericals, although there were numericals, but they were easy and from expected topics. The answer here in BEP as per students is around 750. Another question related to calculation of material cost variance was there, and one question on budgeted variable overhead cost per unit has to be calculated. Answer was somewhere around 1.42 per unit, that has been told by certain students to us. Moving on the next section, Companies Act. Companies Act, I will say, was easy to moderate. Easy for those people who had prepared in a sense that they remembered sections, while students who had not prepared on the aspect of remembering the section numbers may have found this section a little difficult to attempt. So this was a little unexpected. Till now exams which have had similar pattern like SEBI grade A and NPS grade B had focused on conceptual aspects from the Companies Act, while in this exam this was a little different pattern that they have gone ahead, and maybe that is why they chose a different path. Here the questions were mostly section based, so that's why I say the level of the exam was easy to moderate, depending on if you remembered, if the candidate remembered those section numbers or not. So a lot of questions, around 7 to 8 questions, were section based. One was under which section NCLT is constituted. Answer is section 408. Then there was a question related to the removal of director, covered under which section? It is under section 169. There was a question on non-profit company. They are called section 8 companies. Declaration of dividend comes under which section? It is under 123. Duplicate certificate of shares are allowed to be issued, and there are certain conditions under which they can be issued. This is mentioned under section 46 of the Companies Act. Now the requirement for issuing duplicate certificates actually kind of nullified. So it is very strange that they have asked this question, because now shares are mandatorily kept in the demat format. But maybe this is for the unlisted companies who may choose to keep in the physical format still. So yes, this was covered. This is mentioned under section 46 of the Companies Act. Then there was a question related to which section mentions that any alteration in the MOA, Memorandum of Association, has to be noted down in every copy. So this is a provision that is mentioned under section 15 of the Companies Act. Then a question related to the company redemption reserve. Here I am not sure if it was a section related question or was it related to when is a capital redemption reserve created. So basically it's a reserve that is created when a company is buying back, and this requirement to create a capital redemption reserve is mentioned under section 69 of the Companies Act. So around 6 to 7 questions were directly based on the section number from the Companies Act that was asked. So maybe if in phase 1 we have not paid attention to these, for phase 2 we can look at this, and for SEBI grade A also we will look to remember some key section numbers. So these are certain learnings we can take for the preparation for SEBI grade A from this exam also. Another question that was asked was the maximum directorships that a person can have, a director can hold in public companies. So that limit, the upper limit is 10. So in case of other total any kind of companies, the limit, if you will remember, it's 20. But here they had asked about public companies, so limit is 10 in that case. And then there was underwriting commission that was asked in case of debentures. What is the upper limit? What is the ceiling? So that allowed the underwriting commission that you can pay in case of issue of debentures is 2.5%. Okay, so that was the question. This is additional information that I mentioned, that in case of shares that limit is to 5%. So these were the questions that came from the Companies Act. The next segment, the subject, if we look at the economics. So in the economics, the level was again easy because direct conceptual questions were asked here and a good distribution from different subtopics also that were mentioned. So first question was related to what is gross national income. How do you arrive at gross national income? From GDP. So when you add the net factor income from abroad, is when you get the gross national income. So, and then on the IS curve, they were asked two important variables that are considered in an IS curve, investment and saving curve. So that includes your income and the interest rates. Then there was a conceptual question related to diminishing marginal utility, which states that the marginal utility from each additional unit declines as consumption increases. So when the consumption is increasing, the additional utility, the additional satisfaction you derive from and one more additional unit that you get, that keeps decreasing. So that is one of the basic economic concept that we have studied even in class 11th and 12th. Marginal utility. Next question was PMI index related. The exact nature of question is not known to us right now. There was a question on budget deficit. And then there was a question related to escape clause under FRBM. The exact nature, again, we are not aware, but this was an escape clause was introduced by the chairman of the 15th Commission, N.K. Singh, which allowed for a deviation in the fiscal deficit target which the government sets up to 0.5 percentage points. So exact nature I am not aware, we are not aware, but there was a question related to the escape clause that is provided under the FRBM Act. There was a question related to the Giffen goods that go against the law of demand. The generic law of demand says when the price increases, the demand reduces and vice versa. But then there's these goods which are an exception to the law. So Giffen goods is one of those exceptions. And then there was a question on M3. What do we also call it as? It is also known as the broad money. So these are monetary aggregates based questions. So conceptual direct questions were there in economics, so they were mostly easy level. In pension sector, also good coverage from the pension sector. Easy level. Why? Because they were direct fact based questions from expected, majority of the questions from the expected points that were asked in these. So the questions that consisted from the pension sector was related to the senior citizen savings scheme. What was the tenure of these? These are 5 years, which is extendable by another 3 years, but the actual scheme tenure is 5 years. Then the Atal Pension Yojana, what is the minimum contribution period? Right, so you can contribute up to 40 years and then you can withdraw from 60 years. So the minimum contribution period is around 20 years. Okay, so again, factual, fact-based pension schemes based questions were asked here. Then there was a question related to PM Shram Yogi Mandhan. This is a voluntary pension scheme for the unorganized workers, which is maintained by LIC. LIC looks after this scheme. Then the employee pension scheme, it is provided by whom? It is provided by EPFO. Okay, so EPF, it's deducted. So along with that, the employee pension scheme is also provided by the EPFO. Then the Pradhan Mantri Vay Vandana Yojana allows for a loan facility. So when can you avail the loan facility? The loan facility can be availed after 3 years of an active policy under the Pradhan Mantri Vay Vandana Yojana. The age limit for the NPS was asked. So this has been very recently increased. Initially used to be 18 to 65 years. So if people had not updated with the news, they could have attempted the wrong option here. The right option is 18 to 70 years. Just recently, to last month, the government had increased the age limit from 65 to 70 years, the upper age limit for the NPS. Then there was a question related to the contingent product life insurance. The exact nature we are not aware of the question. If you remember the question, please write it in the comments box. So these are the questions that were there from the different sectors. As I said, a very good coverage from the different subjects was taken. A good mix of conceptual, direct, numerical based questions. So overall easy to moderate depending on your preparation, but if you had prepared well and gone through more of the basics, you could have attempted easily 35 plus questions from paper 2, and that is what the majority of the students have also done. So coming here to the expected cutoff now. The expected cutoff, if we talk about paper 1, because there will be paper wise cutoffs and also aggregate cutoffs. So if you are talking about paper 1 cutoff, the feedback from various students that we have got, students have attempted 40 to 45 questions in this paper easily, or above of this has been usually the thing. So based on the feedback that we have got from the students, the expected cutoff that we have worked out section wise and category wise is given on your screen. So approximately you can say around 60 is the cutoff that we are expecting for the general, for the unreserved category in paper 1 on the paper 1 basis. For paper 2, based on, as I was mentioning, a lot of students have attempted 35 plus questions in paper 2. If you leave out certain complicated numericals or questions that were time consuming, students have actually gone up to attempt up to 42 questions also in paper 2. So paper 2, if we look at the average around, you can expect around again 61-62 cutoff for the unreserved stream. For the unreserved stream, around 61 is what you can expect, and for the general stream around 55 is what can be expected. So these are paper wise cutoff. However, we also need to get an aggregate cutoff. Now we have conducted a poll to see the overall expected score students are seeing in total for paper 1 and paper 2. The poll is quite scattered. However, if we see, from the individual cutoffs that we have seen from paper 1 and paper 2, around 60 in paper 1 and around 55 plus in paper 2. So if I look above 120, in that case above 120, around 28% of the people have voted in this category. Okay, and if I am taking the average of this, and there's another factor that we should consider, that the number of vacancies for the general stream is 5, with 1 being each in the different categories. Right, so in each of the categories there is 1 vacancy each, with a total of 5 vacancies. So given that the vacancies are also less, there is a possibility of the cutoff being pushed higher. So based on that, if I look at the response in the poll for the aggregate of paper 1 and paper 2 that the students have given, around 28% are above 120. Based on that, taking the average, the cutoff for the aggregate can go around 150. So plus minus 5 is what we can expect the aggregate cutoff for both the papers for phase 1. So just a disclaimer, this is based on the feedback that the students have given for the individual attempts for the paper and the total aggregate score they are looking at. The way ahead, the story is not over. You still have to do phase 2. So please go through the questions again. We will be recreating and making a memory based paper, also trying to recreate the various numericals that have come in the exam for your practice and analysis, so that you can fill up the gaps in your phase 1 and phase 2 preparation and be better prepared for the phase 2. So please do watch again the analysis, and once we upload the memory based paper, we will share that in the description soon. Thank you everybody. A reminder again, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you are aware for the next informative video for your government job exam preparation. Thank you everybody.